Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your Uncle Oski here. How you doing today? Let's go for another walk. You know, some things that I've been kind of something that I've been kind of coming to terms with the last couple days, especially with like how my life's kind of going right now. Um, Here's one hard truth that I've kind of not hard truth, right, but something I've just kind of accepted uh, due to some of my circumstances here lately, and that's some things are just expensive, so you might as well like go all in with it. And you might be asking yourself, well, Oski, Unk, uh, what the fuck are you even talking about right now? Right? Like, what does that even mean? Here's what I mean, right? Here's an example, right? As of recording, last Friday, The Odyssey came out. I'm a big Nolan fan. So I'm a big movie guy. Like, I love going to the movies, right? The movie theater is expensive. It's gotten super expensive. You're paying an arm and a leg to go see it, and if you got kids and you want to get food and yada yada yada, you gotta get a second mortgage or a second fucking bank loan to even take your kids out to go see it, right? But here's the thing, right? If you're someone like me who likes going to the movies, even with me, like I love movies, but I rarely go to the movie theaters anymore. Uh, but when I do go, here's the thing, right? Here's the fucking thing. Whenever I go to the movies now, like I go big. I already know this shit's gonna cost me an arm and a leg. It's gonna be a lot of money. So let's go fucking big. Me and my friend, we went to go see the Odyssey. We saw it in RPX. And the only reason we didn't go see it in IMAX is because it's the closest 70 millimeter theater. It's not too far from me, but the Odyssey sold out for a while. And we wanted to see it now. So you know what? We went big and we saw it in RPX. Big screen, big sound. It sounded and looked exactly the way we wanted it to. With the movie like the Odyssey, me and my friend, like we want to see it as big and as best as we could, right? And we couldn't see it in IMAX, so we went with the RPX. And guess what? It was fucking expensive. Regular movie tickets are expensive, but it's even more if you're trying to go see it in like RPX, 4D, fucking IMAX, whatever, right? But I'll tell you what, I enjoyed the shit out of it. It was awesome. It was awesome. It was a great experience. Love the movie. I love the experience of watching the movie. And, we both shelved out extra money, more than, we probably would have for a normal movie. And we enjoyed ourselves. Like, we knew it was going to be expensive. My friend, he got food, popcorn. He got the whole shebang, a drink. Like, he spent a couple days worth of money just on that, short 4 hour window where we were at the theaters and yada yada yada, right? But that's the thing, right? We both went in there with the expectation that we were going to spend a good amount of money. I got candy and fucking water. Well, I got a water. I brought candy in, but still, I paid for a super stupid expensive bottle of fucking water. And that's just it though. Like we knew we were gonna pay a lot, but what we were gonna get out of it was so worth it, and we both knew we wanted this to be an experience. So we spent the extra money to get the experience, and that's okay. If you're not a movie person, you want just a regular showing, that's fine. That's totally fine. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's just kind of an example of what I'm talking about. Of some things are just expensive. So you know what? If you want to, you might as well go hard on it. You know. Here's another example of what I got. Right. Medical insurance. Now look, if you're in America, or you know anything about America, you probably know this: that medical insurance in America is a fucking joke. It's a joke and it's fucking expensive, right? But here's the thing: you need it. You do need it, and especially if you're someone that gets it through your job, or you're older, you're just prone to medical issues. Here's the thing, and here's what I learned. Right? Don't cheap out on it. Like, trust me, I want every dollar. If I had it my way, I would get every single fucking dollar that I make on my check because I work hard for that money. If it was up to me, I wouldn't even have to pay for any of this. But here's the thing: I have to, especially in the state I live in. I get penalized for not having medical insurance. It's nuts, right? But here's the thing: throughout the last probably like 3 to 4 years, I've had more issues physically. I've gotten sick more often. I've dealt with more mental issues, with depression, stuff like that, right? So I've had to use my medical insurance more. I've had to go to doctors more. I've had to go to therapy, yada, yada, right? And as soon as I noticed that trend start up, obviously I wanted to get more help and insight onto how I can minimize all this crap that I'm dealing with, right? But to do that, I had to go to professionals anyway. So I was like, I looked at my medical insurance and I was like, I'm getting the highest tier. So I pay more monthly, but on these actual visits, I pay a lot less. And it's resulted in me, honestly, it's hard to say if I've saved more money or not because I haven't had like a big procedure, but I've done the math. And honestly, the amount of money I would save, even after spending all this money monthly, like, trust me, I'm saving a lot more money if I were to get, like, I have something that I might need a potential procedure on, and paying all this money monthly is going to be super worth it if I get that procedure. Don't get me wrong. If I get this procedure done, I'm still going to be paying a fuck ton of money. There's no way around it. I'm going to have to spend big money on this procedure if it needs to, if it happens, if it gets to that point. So don't get it twisted. Your boy's not your boy's not getting around having to pay a lot of money, but I will have to pay a lot less money than if I had cheaped out on my medical insurance. If you're in your young 20s, I guess, you're super fit, you're super healthy, you can take that risk. But if you're older, more prone to getting sick, especially if you got kids, bro, like, trust me, don't cheap out. You might as well secure yourself as well as you possibly can. Kind of the same thing applies with auto insurance, dude. There are too many dumbasses out there on the road to be to be gambling with your fucking auto insurance. People out there just don't know how to drive. Trust me. Be safe with it. It sucks seeing how much money they take out per check. It really, really does, but all this is in service of something that you're going to need later on. And trust me, my guy, take it. I think something else that, honestly, this philosophy will apply to, and this really applies to, like, my life right now, like, literally within the next coming months, is this, right? And that is with travel. Usually when I travel, I'm usually just traveling to a lot of nature parks around me or just kind of stuff in my general area. Like, I usually don't travel farther than, like, I don't know what, 5-6 hours. Like, I'm usually up and down the coast, just, hitting up a bunch of nature parks and stuff like that. But now my parents, a dream of my mother's has always been to go to France. She's that typical person who fell in love with Paris despite the fact that they've never gone there. So, we're going to be heading off to Paris. And trust me, man, look, if you're someone like me who doesn't do this kind of travel too often, what I've noticed is that, look, it's going to cost me a pretty penny. It's cost me a pretty penny with just the flights. I mean, just the flights themselves have been stupid expensive. And I get that. Look, if you're someone who travels often, unlike me, you learn a lot of tips and tricks about saving when it comes to, like, whether it's air travel, whether it's lodging, yada, 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 right? But here's the thing. If you're someone like me who doesn't really travel all that much, and even with that, like, I'm saving a bunch of money because my dad works for a hotel chain. So we're saving a bunch of money on the hotel, right? But here's the thing. I'm not someone who really travels outside of the country all that much. So, or even goes on these long, far destinations. Here's the thing. I'm going to fucking ball out, because this is, even more so than that movie experience I talked about earlier. These are experiences that are going to change my life. This is an experience that's going to just, live on in my memory and my memory as a family with my parents, my sister, and all that, right? It's going to live with us for the rest of our lives, barring I get Alzheimer's and I forget everything that's ever happened in my life, right? But look, here's the thing. If you're like me, man, look, and if you're going to travel, dude, fucking ball out. This is your first trip. Let's say you've never left the country and you're about to leave outside of the country for the first time. Brothers and sisters, ball the fuck out. Eat that overpriced food that you're going to get. If it's a long flight, dude, get a better seat on the plane. You know, it's gonna cost you a lot. But if this is like, if we're gonna take a once in a lifetime trip, dog, let me tell you, spend that once in a lifetime bag. Spend that once in a lifetime money, because it's gonna be crazy. Like if you're going somewhere that's known for specific types of food, and in the service of saving money, you're not really eating out while you're over there. What are you doing? What are you even traveling there for? Trust me. Eat that overpriced food, get that expensive ass coffee, get a better seat on the plane, find the things that you're going to be doing over there, and just pay for it. Just really, really do. Like, this is your experience. And I get it, right? Like, there is life after the vacation. Like, you do have to come back to reality. I'm not saying like dump all of your life savings into this one trip. Don't do that. Don't fucking do that. But like, dude, if you're going to take this trip, like, really make sure that you spare no expense, no reasonable expense to enjoy it. This is your life. We got one shot at this. Some things are just always going to be naturally expensive right now. Movies are expensive. Medical insurance is expensive. Travel is expensive. Fucking, even if you want to go, dude, it used to be so affordable to go do little stuff like, oh, we're going to go play laser tag or yada, 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 right? And now it's gotten to the point where it's so expensive that it's actually a joke. But here's the thing. If you got the money, if you have enough cushion for it, to the point where you even can, like, if you're going to go travel, you're at a certain point financially where you can take the trip. You know what I'm saying? So take that little bit. Go that little bit further, go that little bit of an extra mile, and really get your mileage out of it. Really enjoy this shit, dude. Like, if you're going to travel, make sure you get the best travel experience you could reasonably get. Same thing with the movies, man. Let's say there's, like, Dune 3 is coming out later this year. It's going to be expensive. I'm seeing that in IMAX. It's going to be fucking awesome, and I'm going to enjoy it because a movie like Dune 3 only comes out every once in a while where I'm super, super hyped for it, We very rarely get a break from our dull and ever-moving lives. So when we get those chances, we really got to take them. And sometimes that includes spending a little bit extra. And you know what? That's okay. Because we already have to spend our money most of the time on things that we don't even want to pay for. But we might as well make sure that our money goes that extra little bit in our favor for our own enjoyment. That's all I got to say today, guys. Look, if you liked the video, like, comment, and subscribe. Until our next walk, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.